Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom to you Hebrew Israelites. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian, and Haitians. To the elect, to the hopefully elect. Gotta give our praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah, Horash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well, and a sincere salutation to all the ark and pushing the truth throughout the four winds of the earth, waking up the hopefully elect. Shalom to the Akwaf who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah, coming up to another lesson in truth, facts, faith, and edification. And this is global dominance, okay? This is global dominance, man. Lord's witness be edifying.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. It's Dina Kalm here, and for today's broadcast, I'd like to bring you a quick update in regards to the recent tensions between the U.S. and Iran, as well as Russia and the U.S., but also NATO and Russia. Reuters is reporting that NATO has called on Russia to destroy their new missile, and they said that if Russia does not, that NATO will respond. NATO urged Russia on Tuesday to destroy a new missile before an August deadline and save the treaty that keeps land-based nuclear warheads out of Europe, or face a more determined alliance response in the region. NATO defense ministers will discuss their next steps if Moscow keeps a missile system that the United States says would allow short-notice nuclear attacks on Europe and break the 1987 INF Treaty. Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg stated that we call on Russia to take the responsible path, but we have no indication that Russia intends to do so. We will need to respond. However, he declined to go into more details, but diplomats said that defense ministers will consider more flights over Europe by U.S. warplanes capable of carrying nuclear warheads, and more military training and the repositioning of U.S. sea-based missiles. However, Russia warned on Monday of a standoff comparable to the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis if the United States were to deploy land-based missile systems near Russia's border. However, Stoltenberg said there were no such plans. The U.S. ambassador to NATO told reporters that all options are on the table, but we are looking at conventional systems that are important for our European allies to know. It goes on finally to report that European allies are worried about the deployment of U.S. nuclear missiles in Europe, as happened in the 1980s, and being caught up in nuclear competition between Moscow and Washington. Meanwhile, one of Russia's Navy's most advanced warships has docked at a port in Havana's harbor. Armed with cruise missiles, air defense systems, and other weapons, the Admiral Gorshkov, which pulled into Cuba's capital on Monday, is the first ship in a new class intended to replace aging Soviet-era destroyers to project power far away from Russian shore. It is accompanied by the multifunctional logistics vessel Elbrus, the medium-sea tanker Kama, and the rescue tug Nikolai Chika. Russia has not provided details about the purpose of its trip, but the Kremlin has moved to bolster Russia's military capability and intentions in the West, following the annexation of Crimea in 2014. The Russian armed forces have received hundreds of new warplanes and dozens of warships in recent years, as part of a sweeping military modernization program that allowed Moscow to project power abroad. But as the Russians sailed into port, American warships loomed along Cuba's coast, with the guided missile destroyer USS Jason Dunham keeping the closest watch just a few miles away. The Russian visit to Havana is sure to stoke anxieties in Washington, especially as President Trump's White House continues to wrangle with Moscow over missile defense and arms reduction agreements, such as the INF Treaty or the New START deal. But as far as this advanced warship is concerned, experts say the ship is a significant upgrade on its predecessors. Weighing 4,500 tons, the Admiral Gorshkov is the largest surface warship to be built since the fall of the Soviet Union, equipped with a potentially deadly supersonic cruise missile as its primary weapon. With an estimated range of up to 410 miles, it could easily target the south coast of Florida while stationed in Cuba. Given the approximate 234-mile distance from Havana, estimates suggest it would take 6.1 minutes for the supersonic projectiles to reach the U.S. coast from the harbor. The specialist missiles can hit targets traveling at an altitude as low as 10 meters and as fast as 960 meters a second. Finally, it reports that planes are also at risk. The vessel's surface-to-air missiles can hit fighter jets from 180 miles away, with conventional warheads that weigh 660 pounds. 14 years in the making, the Admiral Gorchak could present a significant threat to Florida, similar to the one that President John F. Kennedy heavily feared during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And to throw fuel on the fire, the Washington Free Beacon is reporting that the United States military and partners from 19 countries are getting set to kick off a massive series of war drills in Ukraine, even amid rising threats from Iran.
They preparing.
From July 1st
They preparing for war.
American military
The Lord said He calling all the mighty men.
19 nations, 33 ships, 26 aircraft, and over 3,000 troops to participate in a maritime, air, and land exercise that will enhance capabilities and build upon decades of partnership and friendship. The drills, an annual exercise known as Sea Breeze, that is now in its 19th year, are set to begin at a tense time for the Trump administration with Iran and Russia. It goes on further to report that Russia also has been increasing its threats, with new reports indicating Moscow will begin conducting observational flights over America. Against this backdrop of military uncertainty, American forces and their counterparts from across the globe will conduct training exercises, but they focus on protecting critical infrastructure, force protection, and maritime security operations. Nations scheduled to participate in the war exercise.
Hey, them boys getting ready, man.
Bulgaria, Canada,
Joel, the third
Denmark,
chapter.
Estonia, France, Georgia, Greece, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Moldova, Norway, Poland, Romania, Sweden, Turkey, Ukraine, and the United Kingdom. It definitely seems as if we've entered Cold War 2.0, especially with Russia's warship in Cuba.
Ezekiel 38 chapter.
Response, but as soon as I do, I will definitely keep you updated. However, I would like to switch gears and talk about another very tense situation between the United States and Iran. It is being reported that President Trump has threatened Iran with obliteration by overwhelming force if Iran attacks anything American.
Who is this devil to tell Iran?
Overwhelming will mean obliteration. No more John Kerry and Obama. Earlier Tuesday, the Iranian president said the White House is suffering from mental disability and behaving as no sane person in the wake of the new sanctions imposed by the U.S. this week, partly in retaliation over the downing of an American drone.
Who are these Edomites, man?
Response from President Trump, who stated that Iran's
to tell another nation
insulting statement put out today only shows that they do not understand reality. Their leadership,
they don't understand prophecy,
on terror and little on anything else. The U.S. has not forgotten Iran's use of IEDs and EFPs, which killed 2,000 Americans and wounded.
Iran ain't forgot enough America's use of destroying the world,
that those in charge of
destroying the nations
are feeling frustrated. He added that the U.S. has wrongly expected to create chaos in Iran in 2 to 3 months. But during an unannounced trip to Afghanistan, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo called the Iranians' comments a bit immature and
proud, man.
Adding that the
of
United
these
States
Edomites all have to see them.
Steadfast. And on Tuesday, his national security advisor John Bolton continued the administration's tough rhetoric, referring to Iran as a radical regime that supports violent provocations abroad. But he also added that President Trump had held the door open to real negotiations. He said that all Iran needs to do is walk through that open door. Finally, it reports that Bolton said later on Tuesday that President Trump called him prior to sending tweets threatening Iran, and said the president asked him to get the message out that Iran, in Trump's words, will face great and overwhelming force if it attacks anything American. Meanwhile, Senator Rand Paul claimed that while he was proud of President Donald Trump for not engaging in military conflict, he does fear that the economic hardship placed on Iran may lead to a battle regardless. He said, "I'm really proud of President Trump for showing restraint. It really takes a statesman to show restraint amidst a chorus of voices for war. But whether the sanctions will work is, I think, another story. Currently, from the Iranian perspective, they see the sanctions as an act of war, cutting off their ability.
That's exactly what it is, war, man.
The previous sanctions allowed them to sell some oil. This actually is becoming so stringent that they have a couple of possibilities. One, they may say, oh, we're sorry, and we're going to negotiate. Or they say, we're really, really mad, and we're going to fight. Unfortunately, it looks like we've got them backed up against a wall. And I think we're more likely to have more military confrontations than we are to have diplomacy. It goes on further to report that the new sanctions against Iran's supreme leader and foreign minister have closed off diplomacy, with Iran blaming the United States on Tuesday for abandoning the only route to peace, just days after the two foes came within minutes of a conflict. There is no denying that tensions are definitely very high right now, especially between the United States and Iran. And hopefully cooler heads will prevail in the future. And as always, I will continue to keep you updated. However, I'd love to hear your thoughts about what's...
Amen. So, amen. This is global dominance, man. These North American Edomites don't understand that these Russian Edomites and the Iranians, okay, and North Korea is finna wipe them off the planet, man. Okay? But Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah is gonna wipe all you heathen nations off the planet. This is global dominance, man. Okay? I got a few videos queued up.
The story is keeping to our theme today that the U.S. may be overplaying its our way or the highway strategy and how it may be sometimes resulting in unintended consequences. Russian President Vladimir Putin seems to be saying today that never has there been a better opportunity to sell Russian-made weapons. Is he reacting to what appears to be a global pushback against our, some would call it a braggadocious hegemony? For more on this, let's start with RT's Yulia Shapovalova.
In 2018, Russia supplied abroad 2% more military goods than planned. Today, Russia ranks second in the world as the military equipment exporter. According to Vladimir Putin, the country needs to do everything it can to maintain its leading position in the arms market.
Financial figures of Russia's military and technical exports have increased for the fourth year in a row and came close to the $16 billion mark. Foreign currency exchange earnings from the export of the military products increased by 45%, and the total order book reached a record value of almost $54 billion. Russia confidently ranks second in the global arms market.
Second, man.
The top three of Russia's main buyers, India, China, and Algeria, they account for more than half of all deliveries. But in general, Russia sold its equipment to 48 countries in the world.
48 countries.
Export, the T-90MS tank is of particular interest.
Putin has sold countries, and sold 48 countries their weapon system, man.
The official price is not disclosed, but according to experts,
come on, man. This is global dominance right here, man. Russia taking over, man.
Is the Su-35 contracts have been signed with China and Egypt. This is a multi-purpose aircraft. Its cost is about $85
You North American Edomites are finished, man.
Air defense systems, the S-400 Triumph system, and the Panzer S-1 anti-aircraft missile system are in greatest demand. The fact is, the military say that
Putin got that fire, man. Okay.
Air defense system in many ways. For example, Turkey is determined to get these installations worth $2.5 billion in July, despite any threats from the United States. India has also signed a contract for the supply of these systems for $5 billion.
Hey, you North American Edomites are, you finished, man.
But also in transfer of Russian technology to customers. This is a long-term project.
Everybody copying from Russia, man.
Parts, maintenance of equipment, and its modernization.
Russia is a new face on the scene, man.
Of its models, it's necessary to more actively address the issues of upgrading the already supplied equipment, help install service centers in the territories of the state, shorten the repair services.
According to the Russian military, in spite of the obstacles, the export of the Russian weapons continues to grow. This year, according to experts, will be no less successful. The main competitive advantage of Russian military equipment is the highest reliability at a relatively low price. Yulia Shapovalova for the news of Rick Sanchez.
You North American Edomites are finished by the Russian Edomites, man.
The issue is
hey, Russia is the new face, man. Okay? There's the superpower of the earth now, man. You North American Edomites ain't nothing, man.
Are we, Jim, and my God, you're a diplomat, do we sometimes, what is the expression? Bite our nose to spite our face? Or what is that? Cut off our nose to spite our nose. In other words, we make great arguments that are going to make Americans go, yeah, go America, we're tough, we're great. But people overseas are seeing that, and if you do too much of that, you start to lose a little bit of credibility because you look like a bully.
I think that's part of it. Look, I mean, it was interesting listening to your first story about Huawei. And it's the same sort of thing in a way.
And they're kicking butt with films.
Yeah. And look, I can understand that from any country's point of view, you say, we want you to buy our stuff, our companies, our workers, money coming into our country instead of buying their stuff. And, of course, in the international arms market, this is a huge competition. We used to have competitors like Dassault in France, and, of course, we completely destroyed them. But now I think as these weapons are becoming so much more sophisticated in their information technology, in their software, there are concerns that if you buy our stuff and then buy their stuff, there's going to be some leakage of the technology. And this is the threat being made against the Turks. If you buy the S-400s, we're not going to sell you the S-35s because that will compromise the S-35 system. And there's probably some truth to that. And then, of course, the other thing is that there's really a lot of it is whose friend are you? Whose side are you on? If you are a friend, you buy our stuff, not their stuff.
So that leads me to the question that I think as a diplomat you might be able to hone in on for us. Are we doing someone like Putin a huge favor by making countries turn on us and say, oh my God, the way the United States is acting, we're not going to deal with them. You know what? Hey, Vladimir, we're going to deal with you. We're going to do business with you.
Hey, 48 countries already dealing with Putin, man. And getting his missile system.
China, of course, has been had a growing relationship with Russia for a while.
Come on, man.
Turkey,
this is global dominance right here, man.
Turkey being a member of NATO, but they're looking not only at the quality of the weapons, the price, and all of that, but also what's our relationship with these guys compared to how pushy are these guys. And I think that's part of it. You know, I think there's almost a kind of a rope-a-dope strategy that the Russians have vis-a-vis us, that they will watch us threaten friend and foe alike, threaten to sanction everybody, and say, we're turning people off.
Our frequent guest, John Jordan, who I was on the phone with just before we did this segment, and we were hoping to have him on, but we had a little bit of a technical glitch, mentioned something that really becomes important. If Putin does these deals with India, with Turkey, for example, this is not a one-time sale. He calls it ongoing revenue because that gives Putin the cutoff factor. If Putin says to Turkey or India, hey, you know what? I know you have our tanks, but we have the turbines and we manufacture them. We're cutting you off. They need to the relationship needs to be ongoing, so it's really beneficial. Mistakes we make now, we'll pay for a decade from now.
Sure, and there's nothing new about that, of course. I mean, there's questions of intercompatibility of weapons. If you're going to buy one weapon, it's like getting either Apple or Microsoft. You know, you want to have everything compatible with the stuff you already have. And there is the question of spare parts technology, other kinds of support. That's always been the case. You think of the Iranians keeping their F-4s flying, trying to find American parts somewhere.
As an American, I worry that my country sometimes puts, like a teenage boy, puts his foot on the gas and doesn't know how to ride the brake. Are we putting too much of are we being a little heavy-legged or whatever it's called?
I think we are in terms of our overall global posture. And this
it's called pride.
You could say the same thing about buy our freedom gas.
These Edomites are prideful in North America, man.
I think we during the period and after the Soviet Union collapsed, when we were the global hegemon, and still think we are, we think we can dictate terms to people.
So that's our mistake.
I think it's a huge mistake, and it's damaging our country and making our people less safe and less prosperous.
Jim,
which North America is not the global
smart stuff.
Dominance. They are not, man. Okay? North America is not the global dominance no more, man. Russia is. Thus saith the scriptures, man. Okay? It's in the scriptures, man, that Russia going to be the one.
Russia is using its words and its actions to send a warning.
Let me play that back so you can hear what he said.
Russia is using its words and its actions to send a warning to the U.S. tonight. Moscow has sent a warship to Cuba and says the U.S. weapons buildup in Europe could spark a repeat of one of the most dangerous conflicts of the Cold War. National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin has the story tonight from the Pentagon.
The new state-of-the-art Russian warship received a warm welcome after pulling into Havana Harbor, just 90 miles from Florida, occupying a berth which until a recent travel ban was filled by American tourist cruise ships.
This is a clear show of force by by Russia.
Russia's deputy foreign minister warned of a new Cuban missile crisis if the U.S. chooses to deploy missiles back to Europe after the Trump administration said it plans to pull out of a landmark nuclear arms treaty. Quote, we could find ourselves in a situation where we have a rocket crisis close not just to the crisis of the 1980s, but close to the Caribbean crisis.
The Russians are basically
This is global dominance, man.
At this time, claiming that the United States is acting in a provocative fashion, which is simply not true.
The arrival in Havana not as menacing as this encounter weeks ago in the Western Pacific when a Russian destroyer harassed the USS Chancellorsville, nearly colliding, forcing the American warship to alter course. Earlier this month, Moscow says one of its fighter jets intercepted a U.S. B-52 bomber in the Black Sea, one of many increasingly aggressive encounters between the two Cold War foes. Back in Havana, the arrival of the Admiral Gorshkov, a new class of Russian frigate armed with cruise missiles, signals Russia's intention to project power. Russia's show and tell comes in the wake of a 10,000 NATO troop month-long war game exercise.
Russia flexing hard, man.
Baltic Sea, involving 50 Allied warships. And as the Pentagon announced plans to add new low-yield nuclear weapons to ballistic missile submarines, a response to Russia's threat to use limited nuclear weapons on the battlefield. President Trump's new acting Defense Secretary Mark Esper flew to NATO headquarters today, his second day on the job, for meetings about Russia and to build an alliance against Iran. Brett?
Hey, man, it's popping off. This is global dominance, man. Okay? Russia and China and Iran is finna wipe this place off the map, man. Just keep living.
The world has gone on a shopping spree for gold. Now, this comes as China continues to increase its gold purchases to counter its dependence on the U.S. dollar. RT's Sarah.
Here we go. The crash of the dollar.
Sarah, dollars or gold? I like them both, but it looks like China right now has a preference.
Right, Scotty. China and other countries as well have been steadily increasing their gold reserves and shifting away from U.S. Treasury bonds. Now, analysts predict that gold purchases will only continue to increase. The yellow metal soared to a 5-year high, posting gains on Monday at $1,403 per ounce. This was up 17.3% since last September, when it was at its most recent low of $1,182 per ounce. And the surge is speeding up, with the price up 10% in just the last week. According to the World Gold Council, the People's Bank of China bought up more than 70 tons of gold since December, after not buying virtually any gold for 2 straight years. And just last month, China's gold reserves jumped 15.8 tons. According to data from the central bank, China's total foreign reserves last month climbed from $78.35 billion to $79.83 billion. But it's not just China. According to WGC data, in 2018, gold reserves around the world surged by 651.5 tons, or 74% year on year. Now, it's not just the surge world gold reserves that spiked the price, but it's also a direct response to last week's U.S. Federal Reserve's board meeting. This signaled likely cuts to U.S. interest rates that will occur later this year. Experts say that the dollar originally became the world's reserve currency because it was just as good as gold, but times are changing.
In fact, the dollar was gold. It was Federal Reserve notes that were IOUs for dollars, which were made of gold. And we went off the gold standard in 1971, but I think the world is going to go back on it because I think the days where the dollar is the reserve currency are numbered, and we're going back to basics. You know, everything old is new again.
He just quoted Ecclesiastes, man. That which was shall be again, and there's nothing new under the sun. So Peter Schiff just quoted Ecclesiastes, man. Okay?
Gold was money in the past, and it will be money again in the future. And central banks that are smart enough to read that writing on the wall are increasing their gold reserves now.
This also comes at a time when tensions between the U.S. and China have worsened over the protracted trade war.
China continues to buy gold, trying to lower dependence on U.S. dollar.
And most recently, Trump raised tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports to 25%. Beijing retaliated by raising duties on 5,000 U.S. products to 25% as well. Now, Beijing-based political journalist Tom McGregor said Beijing is worried U.S.-China ties could get worse, so the PBOC has jumped to stockpile its gold reserves. Gold is a safe haven investment. Scotty, experts
yes, it is.
That gold purchases will continue to go
Currently,
up this year as political
it
and
is.
economic tensions are largely on the rise. And all eyes really are on U.S. and China relations as they meet at the end of this week at the G20.
See, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our times, okay? Not gold or silver, which they shall cast in the street, because it shall not deliver them, man, okay? You can read that in Ezekiel, the 7th chapter, man.
Summit, but this could be a decisive moment that could change the direction of the price of gold and even decide the fate of the U.S. dollar and the world's economy.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, because they are trying. What you people got to understand is, this is all propaganda, man. These Edomites control all this news, man. Okay? And then what they're trying to get you to do is be conditioned to take the RFD microchip, man. I don't care what they push in their media, man. I don't care if it's RT News, if it's CGTN News, if it's Euro News. It all go all the way back to the Rothschilds trying to get everybody to take the RFD microchip, man. Okay? Through convenience, man. That's what it all boils down to. And another thing that this thing is boiling down to is that these elites, these Edomites, the whole deal of this media propaganda is to establish missiles to fight against Yahushua, man. Okay? To make everything come to a one world government, everybody on this one world agenda, this one world religion, this one world currency. Listen, man, to deceive you people, that's their goal, man. And to set up missiles in every country so they can fight against Yahushua. Because the Lord is putting a spirit on these devils to create this technology because he's a man of war and he wants a great fight when his son returns, man. That's the whole point of this, man. To set up missiles everywhere so they can fight against Yahushua when he returns with them tens of thousands of angels and them thousands of chariots, man.
I think, sir, if they have a great meeting, then that's not necessarily good news for gold. At the same time, that's good news for the economies of both countries.
No, it ain't.
Thank you so much for covering this.
Because what did the Lord say in Ezekiel 7th chapter? That this is a stumbling block to all you heathen nations and 2/3 of Israel, man.
Continuing to cover it, sir.
That's all it is, man. It's a damn stumbling block. And this is the last video that I have queued up.
Well, let me just tell you that if they fire on the Islamic Republic of Iran, they will be opening the gates of hell. This is not Iraq in 2000.
This is George Galloway, and he goes straight in on these Edomites.
Country with an unpopular leader, with no friends and allies in the region or the world. Iran is a vibrant, powerful country of nearly 80 million people, most of them young people, most of them united at least in their rejection of foreign interference in their country,
right?
Foreign attack upon their country. And Iran is militarily strong in the way that Iraq was militarily weak. The Iranians can fight back, and they will fight back.
Yes, they will.
The drone that they brought down, they say, in their territorial waters, gives an indication of the ability and power of their military.
Yes, it
they
does.
Have millions of men and women, for that matter, either under arms or ready to be under arms.
Facts.
For many of those, it would be a pleasure to fight the United States.
Oh yeah, facts.
And its allies in the region.
Okay.
I want to turn to those allies in a minute, because whichever Persian Gulf country allows its land to be used for the launching of an American attack on Iran will itself immediately be in flames, probably within the hour.
That's scripture.
Straits of Hormuz, through which 35%
That's
of the world's oil flow, not American oil, by the way, they buy almost none of it, but it will bring the economy of many places, including yours, grinding to a halt.
Yes, it will.
Within days or weeks.
Facts.
35% of all the world's oil will be passing through or not passing through a narrow strait that the Iranians can and will easily block.
That's facts.
Iran is also unlike Iraq in that it has friends in many, many places, strategically important places. Let's start with the obvious one. When Britain and the United States broke Iraq, it automatically made Iran powerful in Iraq. Iraq has millions of allies in Iraq, all of them armed or easily able to be armed. So the first place that will pay the price for a Donald Trump attack on Iran will be American assets and allies in Iraq.
Facts.
In Qatar, in the UAE, from which the drone that was shot down took off, and particularly in Saudi Arabia.
Facts.
Their oil fields are absolutely vulnerable to Iranian counter-attack, and their leadership, particularly the UAE and Saudi Arabia, are held responsible in Iran for American designs to attack their republic. In Lebanon, Iran has millions of friends. It has a whole powerful guerrilla army that are its friends in Lebanon. Hezbollah, inside Palestine, throughout the Persian Gulf region, throughout the world, Iran has friends. And that's why we say, pull these airplanes away. Sail those aircraft carriers back away as far as possible from Iran's borders. This constant ratcheting up of war fever can only end in disaster for all of us. Iran was compliant with the nuclear deal, the JCPOA.
Hey, if y'all sleep on George Galloway, man, you better watch this guy here, man. Okay? Hey, this guy right here, man, he giving straight facts, man. You better get up on him, man. Hey, the Lord said they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. Whether he Edomite or another heathen nation, man, you better get up on this guy right here, George Galloway, man. I be watching this dude. Listen, man, you Edomites is done, man. Okay? Hey, this is beautiful, man.
Everybody else in the world agrees on that, except the United States.
Because they pride.
No more war. No war in the Gulf. No war on Iran.
Hey, North America is finna get wiped off the planet, man. Okay? And Israel, man. Israel, North America. Hey, you heathen nations are done, man. No, hey, he said North America, Trump, they open up the gates of hell, man. Okay? Meaning the gates of judgment, man. Okay? This condition is finna come to you Edomites and you heathen nations and you 2/3 Israelites. You don't even have a clue, man. And so, Lord's witness is edifying. Gonna give our praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well, and a sincere salutation to all the octane, pushing the truth throughout the four winds of the earth, waking up the hopeful elect. Shalom to the Akwa for our listening and learning. Shalom.